Hey, this is Dan Blewett. It's Friday, February 15th. Today's, I think, the end of the 6 month and 2 week mark. And I am 4 workouts away from reaching the mound, which is exciting because this past couple weeks has been pretty boring. Plus, when you get to the point where you're looking at a new milestone, you start to really begrudge the monotony that you're at already. So I've been throwing flat ground for really not that long. I mean, only 7 weeks, but it's just been, I'm just ready to get on the mound, ready to get to something new. This last workout that I'm doing, did today and did on Wednesday, I'll do 4 more times, so it's the same thing. So a little bit of boredom setting in, but again, that's part of the process. As far as the, I touched on this last time, but as far as the program goes from the mound, it's very vague, as most of them are. And even though they have success with these programs, I think they can be done better. So rather than go 50%, 50%, 50%, and then jump to 75%, and then eventually jump to 90%, and then jump to 100%, I'm going to take where I am at the end of next week, and I'm going to start ramping up my velocity a little bit, probably hang out in the 62, 63 range towards the end of next week. And then I'm going to make the stepping stones again between the starting point, which will be probably 65, is what I'm going to start at on the mound. And so between 65 and 85, which is my projected first time at 100% speed, fill in that 20 mile per hour gap over those, I don't know if it's like 12 workouts or whatever. So I'm going to make, 1.5 mile per hour progress per workout rather than just staying at 1 and then making a 10 mile per hour jump to the next. So that's the plan. When I get through hammering that out, I'll probably release that on my website. And I've been talking to a biomechanics professor at ISU, and he had the same sort of ideas where if we can figure out, if players are typically throwing at this perceived exertion, which equates to this % of their actual exertion or velocity, then maybe we can speed people up in the future. Because, again, if the protocol says, hey, throw 50%, and they're assuming it's X amount of miles per hour, but people are actually throwing 70 miles per hour. Well, if they can do that and not get re-injured, then maybe they could be throwing 70 miles per hour sooner, or 60 miles per hour sooner, or just start from a higher velocity from the very beginning. So those are all some pretty sensible and kind of exciting ideas for tweaking these programs as we go forward. And again, I think I have the ability to do some research with Dr. Torrey at ISU, and so all these sort of things going forward can hopefully make the recovery process for Tommy John and rotator cuff, labrum tears more sensible and progression based in the future. Because again, you go to any doctor and you get a return to throwing program that may be just wildly inappropriate for where you're at. So say I go in with a 2-week problem, where you say, hey, take 2 weeks of rest and you can get back at it. Well, they give you a generic program that has you start at 30 throws from 45 feet. Well, does that really address where I need to go back to? Do I need to go back to throwing at infantile velocities because I had, a little tendonitis or a little of this or a little of that? Not really. So, for me with my programs, I've been backtracking kids. So, hey, John Q has a little bit of irritation in his shoulder. Goes to the doctor. Hey, he's fine. He just needs a rest. I'm going to give him these exercises and this and that to do. Okay, he should be good to go in a week. Just return him slowly. Okay, well, he's only taking a week off. And so say John Q could throw 80 miles per hour. So 2 weeks off doesn't really mean he needs to drop down to 35 miles per hour and then slowly build up. That's a little bit illogical. So say he starts back up at 60 miles per hour. So then how do we progress him from 60 to 80 rather than from 30 to 80? So it's not a 6-week progression after every little tweak in your body. Most of these kids in my program, we just back them off for 1 day or 2 workouts, and suddenly they're fine. They just need a little extra rest. Their arm is a little irritated. That's the life of a pitcher. So all those things going forward, swirling around in my brain as I go through this, can hopefully improve the industry of throwing rehab in the future. So filibuster aside, arm's been feeling pretty good. Had a little twinge of ache today. Wednesday was fantastic. Monday was fantastic. Overall, arm feels strong. Again, just a little bit monotonous at this point. I'm just getting through it. So, a couple new things on my website pretty soon. Check out some of the chain work I'm going to be doing as far as shoulder for dynamic stabilization and a couple rotator cuff exercises that I think are really good for young athletes.